How we all doing tonight, guys? I'm your host, Old Shaman, back again here with another video for you all. Today is going to be a review, so today we're going to be talking about Radiant, which is a manga done by Tony Valente. Now, believe it or not, this is actually a French mangaka, if I'm not mistaken. He is not a Japanese mangaka, so this is someone who actually got their manga serialized here in the States, as well as an anime adaptation. But today we're only going to be talking about Volume 1, and it's going to be a quick review. Definitely not something in-depth, so I definitely don't want you guys to get the idea of me going in-depth with this series. I'm basically just going to give you a basis of what the story is about and also what my thoughts were. So anyways, Radiant, like I said, is a series done by Tony Valente, and it, I believe, has 3 or 4 volumes out in English right now. And the story revolves around our main character known as Seth. Now, Seth is what is known in this world as a wizard. Now, in order to become a wizard, you have to meet a certain criteria. So the wizards hunt down a being known as Nemesis, a very cliche name, by the way. And if you are a person who hunts down Nemesis and you manage to get touched by Nemesis, you are more than likely have a 99.9% chance of dying. And that is pretty much one of the things that is addressed in the story, is that for the people who have touched Nemesis and have lived to tell the tale, gain a unique ability. And that is, of course, growing various appendages across your body, as well as being able to gain the ability to channel what is known as Fantasia, which in this world is what we know as magic. Now, anyways, wizards are very rare or I guess you can say species. They are a very rare breed of people because only about 0.1% of the population is consistent with wizards. Now, our main protagonist, Seth, is accompanied by his, I guess, mentor of sorts, named Alma, and she is more or less a more advanced wizard. We don't really get very much of an in-depth analysis of her character in this particular volume. But anyways, she acts as sort of a mentor to Seth, basically training him and basically able to, help channel his ability. Now, I don't know if this is necessarily a spoiler, but like with any generic shonen, our main protagonist has to have a special ability. And what is that special ability? Well, our main character, Seth, can channel Fantasia without the use of any equipment, which for a wizard is very uncommon and very unnatural. So our main character ends up fighting off a Nemesis, using his ability that involves him not using a glove or any sort of equipment to defeat the Nemesis, and he pretty much gets name recognition for it. So pretty much that is your basis of Radiant. Now, first off, let me talk about what I liked about Radiant. The only thing I really liked about it, the artwork is decent. I mean, other than that, and it's a French mangaka, so it's someone who's not even from Japan, who got his work serialized here in the States. That's pretty impressive. Now, I'm glad that he has a following here, but now what I didn't like about the series. Now, here in my collection, I own Fairy Tail. I don't know if you could see that, but right here on this shelf right here, I still own what is called Fairy Tail. I don't like the series. I think it's a piece of shit. Now, while reading Radiant, what did I learn? Well, Tony Valente definitely copied a lot from Fairy Tail. It was almost like that homework meme that you hear online about how, someone copied somebody's homework. Well, Radiant and Fairy Tail, pretty much the same thing. There's absolutely no difference with it in my eyes. Pretty much later on in Volume 1, Seth ends up setting out from the town that he was neighboring or whatever, and he ends up coming across a magic guild of sorts where they end up recruiting different magicians or wizards and whatnot, and they pretty much have their own ranking system and all sorts of things, and they later come across what is known as the Inquisition or the Inquisitors, which I guess is like a disciplinary council for various wizards who decide to disobey the law as well as punish innocent civilians. They are pretty much a corrupt organization, though, from the foreshadowing that we get in Volume 1. There's a few more other minor details, but I don't want to spoil completely everything for anyone who's interested in this series. But I'm going to say this. This is probably one of the most generic shonens I have read as of 2019. Literally one of the worst series that I have ever experienced. And thanks to Apollo Gray, courtesy of him, he actually provided me with Volume 1 because I had absolutely no plans of ever buying this series. And now that I own Volume 1, I feel like I'm entitled now to do a review on it, which is what I'm exactly doing here today. So anyways, the bottom line, Radiant, the story is very generic. Our main character is the same whiny, annoying protagonist that we get introduced in just about every other generic shonen that I own here in my collection. But really, what makes those so different from this is the problem. Early Fairy Tail at least had that sort of kick, that interesting selling point that would let people get involved in Fairy Tail. Fairy Tail had the interesting concepts and ideas. Natsu being a different character, but also having a unique, cool ability. This guy, on the other hand, Seth, is one of your most annoying shonen protagonists who not only just have such a lame ability, like, okay, he can use his hands to channel Fantasia, which, by the way, going back to cliche tropes and generic shit, Radiant is filled with them. The concepts that are introduced in Radiant are stuff that I've seen in other mangas as well as other forms of media 10 times before. Nemesis? Are you kidding me? Your main baddie in the show, Nemesis. How many times has a series used Nemesis as their catch? Shit, like that has got to be the most dumbest, to be honest, it has to be the stupidest idea for a manga to have your main baddie named Nemesis. You couldn't think of anything better than that. Nemesis. Just let that sink in. Anyways, like I said, going back to the cliches, generic moments with this series, did not like it one bit. 3 out of 10 at best, maybe a 4 if I'm giving it a little bit more of a push. But honestly, I recommend that if you are someone who is attuned to shonen manga as well as seinen, stay far away from this series. This series truly is a mess. Do not recommend it one bit. If you honestly want a series with similar elements, but a lot better, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I would recommend you check out Fairy Tail, because that has the exact same shit that you will find in Radiant. So anyways, thank you all for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, this was just a quick little review because I wanted to sort of talk about this, because like I said, Apollo Gray, thanks again, courtesy of you for sending this volume to me. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed, and I will see you guys on the next one.
It's always hard when the journey begins.
Hard to find your way, hard to make